First of all, as you know, aviation has had quite a good year everywhere in the world, significant growth in traffic, passenger and cargo, good numbers for the airlines. For the fourth year in a row, we are making profits that are above the cost of capital, that should be the normal situation, but it's exceptional for the airline industry. So the industry is doing well. For 2019, our forecasts are a bit less optimistic, but we are still expecting a positive year. But there are risks in front of us, protectionism, trade wars, the level of oil price, which is very uncertain. In the region, the growth compared to the previous period of time has slowed down, but remains significantly high, and particularly in this country. Jordan has faced us a very decent growth. This country is expecting quite a bright future in terms of number of passengers, and to be able to cope with that growth, the country has to continue to invest in infrastructure, airports, air traffic control, and to promote open regulation. As you know, Jordan has concluded an open sky agreement with Europe, an open country. And we think that for aviation it's positive because our future of aviation relies on open borders, open to trade and to people. But in Jordan, potential for growth is very important, and especially linked tourism and business. Tourism is the main industry for it. I think it represents 18% of GDP, something like that, 1/8, which is probably one of the highest numbers in the world. Right? So, usually it's 12, 13, 10, 9, 18, it's very bad. And you have exceptional resources in Jordan to attract tourism. So the point there is not how to attract tourists, is to be able to cope with that growth. So to have the right infrastructure in terms of airports, air traffic control, hotels, all that stuff. What IATA does is to promote aviation as a key element for the business of freedom, because we think we bring freedom and prosperity. And so we push governments to adopt laws that are favoring aviation, the development of aviation. So usually it is better infrastructure, less taxes, reduced costs, develop the number of airlines, welcoming more international airlines, and so that's the main job, these type of measures. We do three things. We advocate in favor of airlines, we lobby in favor of airlines, we push governments to develop aviation, and we set up standards, commercial and technical standards, because we have very, very strong expertise. In the region you have three type of situation. You have the situation of the Gulf state, who have invested in aviation as the key strategic, one of the key or two or three key strategic sector. Abu Dhabi, Qatar, UAE, it's absolutely key element. They spend billions to develop infrastructure, to develop superconnectors, and very successfully. And in a way, they are leading the race globally and clearly in the region. But it's a state strategy to base the development of a country or of a city on aviation. But and I respect that. The second situation is the normal situation in which aviation is important, but it's not the only priority. Jordan is in this situation, Saudi is in this situation, Kuwait, Oman, Egypt, Morocco. Typically the countries in the situation in which aviation is important, but it's not the one or two or three top priorities. Yes, and Jordan is clearly in this situation, providing that for Jordan, aviation is a key transportation mean when you consider the geography. And you have the third category, that are the countries that are still struggling for various reasons, because they were at war, because there was an internal revolution, because they are underdeveloped for any reason. And in Jordan, we see that there is a project, to adopt the EU regulation, what we call the EU 261, and we are not in favor of that, because we are advocating against this regulation in the EU for years because we think it goes too far. It goes too far, and so the burden on the shoulders of the airline is too heavy. So we say you shouldn't go that far. You should find a better compromise. We urge, the Jordan government to adopt a more balanced regulation than the EU one. We have been advocating in favor of maintaining the connectivity between the UK and the rest of the world, especially between the UK and Europe. What we see now is a bit worrisome because, first of all, apparently, if I read the press, we are heading to a no-deal Brexit. And the safety net that has been proposed to maintain continuity even in the case of a no deal is based on very constrained figures. And the proposal is to maintain the traffic figures at the level of 2018, or we forecast a growth between 6 to 7%. So in 2019. So we say be careful. If we are heading for a no deal Brexit, we should have a safety net which is compatible with the effective growth that is expected in the UK or between the UK and the rest of the world. So we are worried. It's still Atlanta, but I think it's still Atlanta, but you have one or two competing airports, which is Dubai, and you have Beijing. Okay. Hong Kong is a very big airport. Shanghai. But you have very dynamic cargo hubs in the Gulf. You had Sharjah, you had Dubai is and Qatar. Qatar has a very big fleet.
Qatar Airways, from a cargo perspective, is the #1 carrier in terms of planning.
But for the moment, the airport is doing well in terms of capacity, but we are reaching the limit. The limit is at 8 million passengers. If you want to cope with the growth in Jordan, you will have to increase your airport capacity. The government has to do it, and they are perfectly aware of it. We say that the airport is a bit expensive, but it's not the only one on the planet. In the region, it's one of the most expensive. So it's a problem. But in terms of quality, the airport is good.